Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
They found a way to fit all those guys in the salary cap, which I'm impressed with. It's a great job by them.
You know, that is a very interesting thing because Taylor and I have been talking about what Chris Paulin said just a few weeks ago. And today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about salaries and salary cap and the ECHL and how it could affect the FPHL and the SPHL. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for December 24th, 2025. Merry Christmas to everybody. We're so happy you're here listening to us. And maybe for the first time, and if you are for the first time listening to the Power Play Post Show, welcome. Taylor and I, we basically talk about the Binghamton Black Bears of the FPHL, but today we're going to talk a little bit more broadly about minor league hockey in general as well. This is season 15, episode number 31, and this is episode number 545 in the long-running podcast. It is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. Again, I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And Taylor, what an interesting week. We're going into Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and Jeremy and Cadence. I don't know your animals' names, but Merry Christmas to them as well. But what an interesting weekend as after the potential Christmas. Well, no, Christmas is definitely happening. We know that's happening for sure. But after Christmas, we don't know what the state of minor league hockey in the lower levels is going to be like because of what's happening with the ECHL. It makes a very interesting turn because right now, usually players all leave both in the ECHL, the SPHL, and the FPHL. They all go home for the Christmas break. Some may stay close to the cities that they are in because they have to travel to go to, games on Friday. And we just don't know what's going to happen Friday morning at, say, 9 or 10 o'clock when the players' union reaches out to the ECHL and says, we're playing or we're not playing.
Yeah, this is like the worst time of year for something like this to happen, in my opinion. You got a bunch of guys going home to hang out with their families, and, for the ECHL guys, and maybe even other leagues are kind of, these guys are going home and just wondering what's going to happen. And, try to come up with a plan for, either side. If it happens, if it doesn't happen, you kind of have to plan for both right now, I would imagine. And that's not something that, probably a lot of these guys want to have on their mind when you're supposed to be home spending holidays with your family and not really thinking about hockey.
Right.
Even though I'm sure some people are still playing hockey. Like I know one of our players who went home is still playing hockey and probably will be playing hockey even on Christmas. So
that's probably true, and I know that when I spoke to Brant Sherwood, who will be a guest here on the Power Play Post Show today, he said that he wasn't sure if he was going to have to lock the guys out of the arena because they would have ice on Tuesday and they would have ice on Wednesday, but then they're ripping out the ice for the holiday basketball classic that'll be played in Binghamton while the Black Bears are up in Watertown. That's a charity event that happens every year in Binghamton at the arena right at the Christmas time, right after Christmas. And so he wasn't sure. He's like, well, maybe I'm going to have to lock these guys out of the arena just because you need to take a break. And everybody needs to take a break from whatever they do with their profession. But it is a strange time that we're going to be looking at a potential strike that could have ripple effects down into the SPHL and the FPHL. And again, I'm going to make this perfectly clear. I've talked to two people within the league in different capacities, and even both of them did not know exactly what's going to happen. Listen, we know that the ECHL's Players Union, which is the PHPA, has sent a strike notice to the ECHL, basically saying that we have not come to terms. We don't agree with the way you're negotiating with us, and we're going to strike on Friday, starting December 26th. Now, we don't know if all the players are going to walk out and strike. At this point, nobody knows that until we get to Friday. Are they going to be all in solidarity, except for the guys that are on the AHL, NHL contracts? Those guys are not affected by this. They're probably going to show up because they're going to be told to show up by their NHL club to show up. And whether they play or not is really kind of up to the situation then. But it's going to be an interesting thing. But I did speak to two people. One maybe that was more pro team and pro owner, and maybe one that was a little bit more pro player, to get kind of both sides of it. And it's very interesting. We'll talk about this in just a few minutes. I also want to let everyone know, if you're a brand new listener to the Power Play Post Show and you're coming in because somebody said, go listen to the show because we're going to talk about this, I want to give you a little bit of my background for a second. I have been covering minor pro hockey for a very long time, since 2004. I started in 2004, and I was one of the first people probably in the American Hockey League to be an online person to get credentialed in the American Hockey League, and covered multiple things from the Calder Cup championships to Dave Andrews, state of the league addresses at All-Star games, covered multiple All-Star games. And I was also a broadcaster for the Manchester Monarchs as well. So I know, and I've been around this for a very long time. And a lot of this is very complicated. A lot of people think they know all the answers, and even I don't know all the answers and sometimes all the information, because it changes a lot. Taylor, she's brand new to this. And I just want to let everyone know that she is brand new to this. She's done about 35 shows with me, and she's been writing the Impact Players, talking about the Binghamton Black Bears. But we're going to try to help a lot of people better understand what's going to happen and what could potentially happen. So hopefully I made that kind of clear about kind of where I'm coming from with this and who I am and what I've done. And Taylor, you talk now. I've talked way too much.
Well, I mean, there isn't really much more that I can say to add on to that. I mean,
right.
You've been around hockey for a very long time, and I haven't. And I, as you've mentioned before, I pretty much only follow the FPHL.
Yeah.
And I really only pay really close attention to Binghamton. I don't pay too much attention to other teams unless we're facing against them. And a lot of what you say, pretty much most of what you say, I actually agree with. So it's not too hard to understand where you're coming from and to kind of understand your viewpoint. You and I do think very similar, which, you kind of wish sometimes we didn't. But
yeah, I do.
It's one of those things where if you take the time to sit and actually think about everything that has to go on for this, it very much helps you understand that it's not just a simple thing of like, oh, well, the light bulb is loose and you have to tighten it and it'll turn on. It's much more complicated than that. It's like you have a burnt out wire, but you have to dig through the entire drywall, replace the drywall, fix the actual wire. There's a whole mess of things that it's not just a simple fix, and it seems like it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Phenomenal anecdote. Absolutely. Yes, you have a wiring problem, and there are multiple layers to this that you have to fix before you're all said and done and you can turn that light switch back on. Absolutely 100% accurate on this. And I just don't think people realize. The last thing I want to say also about my credentials, I've also interviewed over 1,000 people in minor league pro hockey. From 2004 on, I've interviewed multiple people, from D1 broadcasters to players. So I want people to understand, I'm going to come at this in the mindset that I've talked to a lot of different people, and I have a different mindset about this. I'm not just going to be pro player, and I'm not just going to be pro owner. There is a complex system here that needs to work and gel, and it's not going to be easy. And why the SPHL and the FPHL could be affected by this is because of whatever the result is can have an impact on all forms, all levels of hockey underneath the ECHL. And there are multiple reasons why, from teams possibly not being able to afford the new increases in pay, the change in travel costs, which could go up based on what they agree to in the new collective bargaining agreement. There is a lot to this that is very complex that could affect teams closures of teams. Some teams can absorb the cost because they don't care if they lose money. When you have 3 teams that are owned by Spire Motorsports or Spire Sports, and they don't care necessarily because they're such a sports juggernaut that they don't care if those teams make money or lose money. They're just kind of there to kind of feed the system, feed their whole corporate, entity. They may not care if the cost of everything goes up as much as a team like in Adirondack, or who depends a lot on the fans buying tickets and corporations buying sponsorships. If those costs go up, that could affect. I'm not saying Adirondack is in danger or anything like that. What I'm saying is it affects them more so than a company like Spire, who owns 3 ECHL teams. So there's a lot to this, and we'll get to it in just a little bit because we have Port Huron to talk about first. But the Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, and Amazon Music, and also iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook, search Power Play Post Show, and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. And coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show, Power Play Post Show. I know the name of my show, right? I think I do. Head coach of the Binghamton Black Bears, Brant Sherwood, will be our Christmas gift to you guys, the fans of the Binghamton Black Bears. Okay, so back to this guy again.
They found a way to fit all those guys in the salary cap, which I'm impressed with. It's a great job by them.
You know what? I should have played the other one.
Yeah, I think it's nice that they're very fat and happy over there.
Okay, I love Chris Paulin. This is not about Chris Paulin. All right, the city of Port Huron bans a Blue Ridge Bobcat player, Philip Halevac, from being able to enter the Port Huron city limits. Okay, I want to say that one more time because to me, this is so comical in some senses. The city of Port Huron bans a Blue Ridge Bobcat player, Philippe Halevac, from being able to enter the Port Huron city limits. There's a lot of confusion and likely misinformation around this of the incident and of what time it happened and whether it was during the period or during a goal at the end of the period. For a city to do this sets a bad precedent, in my opinion. If the league is investigating, then I think we need to see what conclusions they come up with. And they did suspend Philippe one game, and I do know that from that game, Zemi, the head coach of the Blue Ridge Bobcats, was fined an undisclosed amount. But Taylor, your opinion, what did you think of this when you saw this come across?
I was just honestly confused by it. I mean, to try to find the information for yourself was very difficult.
Yes.
Because if you look at the letter or the press release, whatever you want to call it, from the city of Port Huron, in their statement, they say that it was a play or it happened after play, after the first period buzzer.
Yes.
So you're already I go to the end of the first period, Zemlecki gets kicked off the bench. He's done for the night. You watch him leave the ice, and then nothing happens. The guys leave the ice. There's nothing. The puck is actually in the Port Huron end, and you don't see anything.
Right.
So I was confused. So now I'm reading through all these comments, and there's people that are like, oh, well, it wasn't at the end of the period after the buzzer. It was actually after the first goal, and it was a couple seconds after the goal, and this is what happened. I was there to witness this. But even then, there's no video of it happening unless somebody has a video of it happening. But the YouTube broadcast itself doesn't show anything happening.
Yeah.
And as far as the league investigating it, we kind of already know from the DeRazio statement, he didn't watch the full thing, and he probably did the same thing here. But the city of Port Huron made a statement, and Blue Ridge made a statement, so he's probably just doing the suspension to kind of make everybody happy. I don't really know. Because in my opinion, there wasn't anything to see, so how are you supposed to investigate it?
Yeah, and how – well, I mean, I guess you talked to the fan that got hit, which we hope, first of all, a 17-year-old person getting hit in the face with a puck at a hockey game probably isn't unheard of. It's probably happened before. If it happens during a play while you should be paying attention and not be like on your phone or eating popcorn like I probably would have been, or something to that effect, that's on the fan, right? But if it is at the end of the period and you're getting up and you're starting to maybe shuffle your way to the bathroom or something like that, and then a puck gets hit into the stands and hit you, you're probably not expecting that. And so I'm not going to blame the fan, and I don't blame the fan, right? I think it's negligent, number one. Malicious, I don't know. It's hard to argue that something like that is malicious when, maybe a player is frustrated. Something happened and, maybe he was the cause of a penalty or a power play or a goal or something to that effect, and he goes and flings the puck, right? That's negligence. That probably should be maybe a suspension or something because you did hurt, a fan. But to ban him from the city limits, it sets such a bad precedent. This is not what the Port Huron Prowlers should want. And I'm speaking to basically, the guys there in Port Huron, Ken Andrews, who's the owner of the team. I'm speaking to Matt Graham, and I'm speaking to Chris Pollan just because I like talking to Chris Pollan for some reason. You guys need to get that ban removed because it sets a bad precedent. And guess what happens when you need to go to Blue Ridge and somebody from Blue Ridge says, well, we don't want Matt Graham to be there. Guess what? There's a precedent set. And you don't want that precedent to be set because guess what is going to happen? Matt Graham's going to get arrested if he, shows up at the arena. You see what I mean? That's a bad thing.
Yeah, the whole thing seemed just weird in general. Like I don't know if they did it because this is, according to them, the second time it's happened, or because I don't know. The whole thing just seemed, I don't know, off to me. Because in Friday night's game, the same player did have a delay of game he went to shoot the puck around the wall and it got flung up into the stands.
Yeah.
But nothing came about that. And then in Saturday's night game, you don't see it happen. And from all the comments that I read was that it was after the goal. He had the puck on the end of his stick and he went to flip it up to the glass and misjudged it because the lights go out in Port Huron when they get a goal. And that's what was going on. And it was just, So it's just, there's a lot of I don't know, a lot of weird things happened all at once. And then the guy gets banned from Port Huron. It's just crazy to me.
It is. It is very crazy. It's a bad precedent. You don't want that. And I'm saying to the guys in Port Huron, you don't want that to stick. You guys really need to talk to the city and get that removed. You're not going to want that to happen to you guys going into a big game in the playoffs somewhere else. And guess what? It happens once, it's going to happen again. That's the world we live in. And you're going to, if Blue Ridge doesn't make the playoffs, it doesn't really matter if the guy comes to Port Huron. If you guys make the playoffs and someone goes, let's see here, do we really want Matt Graham to be here in Port Huron or be here in Binghamton or in Watertown or wherever it may be? Let's just ban him from the city. Yeah, if he shows up, we're just going to arrest his ass. That makes a lot of sense, guys. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's stupid, really stupid.
Yeah, I think most people would agree with you on that statement, to be honest. The whole thing's just, it was so weird to me. And I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around it. I know I sent you 50 messages at once about it because I was
You did.
I kept, I'd send you one information and then I'd send you another one and then I'd send you a video and then I'd say something else. Nothing was adding up. And the whole thing is just weird. And honestly, of all the crap that's happened between Binghamton and Danbury in the last few years, nobody's ever been banned from Danbury and nobody from Danbury has been banned in Binghamton.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of crazy things that have happened. And
well, yeah, not just crazy things, but we've also had, basically we've had cops called on the Black Bears, and yet we're still welcome there. Well, sort of welcome, I guess. I don't know. They probably don't. I
don't think it's that bad this year. I think everything is okay this year. But those last couple of years were a little rough for the players and Dylan and.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Dylan was the one that was in handcuffs, and it's just so. But again, Jared Cram, the mayor of Binghamton, hasn't banned anybody from Danbury, and we've had some crazy stuff happen. You know, trash cans have been abused down in Danbury. We can still go to Danbury. You know, it's just insane. I think it's what it is. It's overreach by the city of Port Huron. I think it's a dangerous thing to do. And do I feel bad for the kid for getting hit in the head? Yes, absolutely. 100%. I hope he's okay. I'm not saying that I want that to happen, but that's the extreme. That's like saying, all right, you robbed a bank. All right, death penalty. You robbed a bank.
Yeah, definitely seems like it's just a tad of an overreaction.
It really is. It really is. All right. So, Taylor, let's start talking about the ECHL again.
Some ECHL players may play and some may strike. Negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement between the ECHL and their players have reached a stalemate, and now the Players Union has served a strike notice for December 26, 2025, when the league resumes from holiday break. This move from the Professional Hockey Players Association comes after nearly a year of negotiations that they have deemed unfair, stating that the ECHL appears to prefer bullying to bargaining and does not respect the process nor the players' right to negotiate a fair settlement. Their current collective bargaining agreement was signed before the COVID-19 pandemic, meaning salaries have not been adjusted for inflation. Other concerns from players are health and safety standards, travel conditions, and basic working conditions. The ECHL shared details on their latest proposal online on Monday, saying it calls to raise the salary cap 16.4% this season, with retroactive pay upon ratification, and increases total player salaries in the future years to pay players nearly 27% more than the current cap. They have also offered larger per diems, mandatory day off requirements, and a 325-mile limit for travel between back-to-back games. The vote by the players to strike was not unanimous. Some may decide to keep playing. There will be games postponed. Will players from the FPHL and the SPHL go up to the ECHL to play during this?
Okay, let's stop there for a second. Okay, so the vote by the players strike was not unanimous. That is a very interesting statement that says that I think you have to understand, if a player is making, say, $550 a week in the ECHL, and he thinks that's the best he can do, he's not going to the AHL, he's not contracted by an NHL team to play in the AHL or the ECHL under that NHL contract, or that contract from the NHL team, then he may think that's the best he can do. So he may not vote for it. He might think this is the best it's going to be for me, right? Some players may think otherwise. They might be a top tier ECHL player that has the potential to play in the AHL, right? He could sign an AHL only contract, right? So he's looking at more money. He's looking at that kind of deal. So that's why it probably wasn't unanimous. And it's very difficult because each player, and I'm going to repeat this probably a few times in this conversation, every player has to think about their best interest. I know that unions want their players or the people within the unions to think about the best interest of the whole entity. But unfortunately, when you're talking about people that are making $2,000 a month or just over $2,000 a month, it's hard for them to think about just the whole entity, but they sometimes have to think about themselves and whether or not they can afford not to do that. So that's something to think about. But unfortunately, a union can also kick you out of a union if you, don't side with them all the way. It's a very complex situation there. Will there be games postponed? More than likely. I truly believe that games will be postponed Friday and Saturday. Will players from the FPHL and the SPHL go up to the ECHL and play during this? It is possible, but it's unknown right now what those players are going to do. Some FPHL teams don't really like their players getting moved up or going up. They'll say they do, but they really don't. And they'll try to shield them from being able to go up. Brant Sherwood let Gavin Yates go up for those two games because he felt it was the best thing for Gavin Yates. And maybe it is. But that's the tough question here. And I think it's the question that a lot of FPHL fans want to know. Will we lose players during the strike to go up there? It is a possibility. It is no guarantee. And we won't really know any of this until midday Friday at some point, when either the ECHL is canceling and postponing games, or we start seeing through the transaction wires that 2 or 3 players from the SPHL from each team is going up, or 2 or 3 players from the FPHL teams are going up.
Yeah, I mean, all around it, this is going to be probably a really complicated process for the next however many, weekends this could take.
Mm-hmm.
For the people who don't want to go on strike, it's almost like it makes you think those people they're looking at it that if they go on strike, they're not going to play. So if you're not playing, then what are you doing?
You're not making money.
There are so many guys out there that if they're not playing hockey, then what are they doing? Doesn't matter what league they're in. They're going to play hockey because they're a hockey player. It just to I don't know, to have a stance against these guys that are going to, if they're going to strike, they're going to strike, and people will side with them. And then the players that aren't going to strike and will continue to play, they're going to have people that side with them. I think honestly, it has to be a personal reason. Like, I think you have to do whatever is best for your individual self.
Yes.
And in this kind of a moment, if going on strike is what's best for you, then do that. If not, then you continue to play. Assuming that they don't, postpone your games and your team's still there, then, do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it could be like a very cutthroat situation, because if something happens and, like I know that you had said when we were off air that if, 500 people in the ECHL don't play, well, then they're going to start trying to pull guys from the SP or the FPHL. And then what happens with the teams down there?
Yeah.
If a SPHL team loses 10 guys, and well, now what are they going to do?
Right.
It definitely, it's a slippery slope. And it seems like if you got your snowball at the top and you let it roll down, it's just going to keep getting bigger. And it seems like I've already said it, but it seems like it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, unless they can figure something out real quick.
I talked to somebody in the league that works for one of the teams, and I can tell you right now that if the players go on strike, and this is not a threat, this is not just some crazy thing, this could happen. If the players go on strike and say it lasts a week or 2 weeks or maybe even 3 weeks, they could lose their housing. They could be forced to go back home while the strike is happening, because why would the team why would this team keep paying for housing and the electric and the water bill and all that stuff that they pay for now? Almost I know every team in the ECHL pays for all that stuff. Why would they pay for that if they're not making money and if there's no games being played? So there are two sides to this that a lot of people don't understand and don't care about. They think that if you're an ECHL team or an AHL team or even an NHL team, that they're all billionaires making tons of money, that actually own these teams. And when it comes to lower minor league hockey, that is not the case. Now, granted, I think some teams in lower minor leagues are doing very good. Like the Binghamton Black Bears are doing very good, right? But if there was a union governing the players in the FPHL and they went on strike and demanded more, then, even Binghamton would have to be like, listen, we have a hard line. This is where we would have to be. This is what we have to do. This is not an easy situation for either side. The one's got to protect the business and the other has got to protect the future of the players, so to speak. And that's not easy to do. Again, this is the hardest league to run if you're a team owner. The ECHL is the toughest and the most complex league to run, because you have players from the NHL and the AHL playing in the ECHL, and then you have to get self-contracted players to come in and play, right? There are players in the ECHL that are just like Tyson Kirkby. They have to sign a contract every single year to play for that team, right? And there's no affiliation of that player to the AHL or to the NHL. And so the ECHL team has to pay that player, where in some cases they don't have to pay for a player that is under a contract with the NHL and AHL. That's why this is the most complex situation out there. And it's difficult on both sides. I understand. And listen, I will say this right now. ECHL, SPHL, and FPHL players all should get paid more money. 100%. Not going to argue that. But there are other parts of this collective bargaining agreement, like 3 games and 3 nights that the players don't want to play anymore. Totally understand that. Totally get that. But once you change that schedule so they don't play 3 and 3s, you might have a higher travel budget because you have to travel more to fit in still the 72 game schedule. That could affect teams making money. Some teams might go out of business. Then there are players that there are 20 less players playing because a team went out of business, or 2 teams went out of business. That's just 60 plus players that will now have to play in the SPHL or the FPHL because of that. There is a lot to this. That's why Friday afternoon, I'm telling you right now, man, I'm going to be like calling people and texting people and getting on the phone to people going, what's going on? What are the players doing in ECHL? Because if they strike, if they walk out, then it's up to the owners. And what the owners have to do there is decide, and the general managers, do we contact representatives of the players in the SPHL and the FPHL and try to get as many of them up as we can so we can play games, which then affects the FPHL and the SPHL games that day as well. So this is a very complicated, complex thing that could affect 3 leagues all in one.
Yeah, it's crazy. You kind of already explained this to me before we started recording, and you just did it again, and it sounds so complicated.
Yeah.
Like there are just so many pieces. It's like trying to put a puzzle together and you don't have all the pieces.
The players who are affected by the strike are the players playing under the SPC. So what that basically means is this strike affects the ECHL, SPHL, SPC players. It does not affect the players that are under an NHL and AHL contract. They'll still get paid whatever they were supposed to get paid, whether they play or not. Maybe they'll go back up to their AHL team and sit as a black ace or something. I don't know. They might just go and practice while this strike is happening. Bottom line is this. What I personally think is going to happen, Taylor, I think the ECHL will postpone games. If players are not going to show up and they don't have enough players, I think games will get postponed and canceled this weekend. I think then after the second week, if the same thing happens, that's when I'm wondering if the ECHL teams will make a hard push to get guys from the SPHL and the FPHL to go up there. If that's the case, then we've got maybe a week or 2 weeks before we'll see the effect here in the FPHL. And here's the thing. How do you think people should react to players who go up and play there during this time if other players that are a part of a union who are represented by the union itself are on strike? How do you think these players should be treated if they go up there and play?
It's like a double-ended question almost, in my opinion, because obviously, you're going to have your own opinion about it, and people can think whatever they want about whoever they want. But at the same time, it could be your least favorite person in the entire league is going to go up there. Probably isn't going to matter to you.
Yeah.
It could be your favorite person in the league that's going to go up there and play. Maybe matters to you because now they're not on your favorite team anymore, whatever the situation might be. I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, if they're reaching down here to try to pull players, they're going to pull the people who want to go. They're not going to get people who don't want to go that are just doing it to do it. They're going to pull people who want to go play in the ECHL, whether it's to make a debut, to get some more playing time, just to
show off their
test
skills,
the waters out,
show off their
whatever
skills,
the case might be. Yeah. They're going to get people who want to play. You're not going to pull people that are, they're going to have issues with it, or if they're against the strike, they're not going to get those kind of guys that would cause any kind of commotion against that.
Mm-hmm.
you're only going to get the guys who truly want to go up there and play. And I think if they're going up there to play, then you should support them. If there's somebody that you want to support, if you don't support them, then it's whatever. It shouldn't matter to you whether they're going up there to play or not. But if it's somebody like from the Binghamton Black Bears that goes up there, like if Gavin Yates went up there again for a weekend or whatever the case might be, support him. Don't support him. Probably isn't going to matter to him. He's going to go up there. He's going to do what he's going to do, and it's going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I think if you want to support somebody, then support them, and if you don't, you don't. It's
no, I get what you're saying. I know that I saw some fan comments even in the Binghamton Black Bears fan page where people talk about, this and how they won't support, and they'll say, don't come back. And that's harsh. That's really harsh, man. You're not living in those people's shoes trying to make it. And they could possibly go up there and show off some skills and then get signed to a regular SPC contract in the ECHL. And that will be good for them. And, I don't know. It's tough. Again, I think it's hard on the owner's perspective because cost is the biggest thing that is killing the ECHL. It's very difficult to run that league for multiple reasons that, would take me an hour and a half to explain to people here. And then you have the players who deserve to get paid more, and nobody is going to disagree with that. And they are looking for days off that some teams don't give. Now, Brant Sherwood gives every single player Monday off, period. You're not going to be at the rink on Mondays or Sundays. He does that almost every week, except for when there's a game like on a Wednesday. He might have people show up on Monday for an optional practice, right? But Sunday you're going to definitely have off. They don't get that on all the teams up in ECHL, and that's one of the grievances. The 3-and-3s, the 3 games in 4 nights, those are the type of things they're trying to eliminate, but they don't realize that in the end, if you fix all those things to exactly how the players want it, the travel costs go up, the cost of running the league goes up, and that could affect how many jobs in the ECHL are. Right now, there are 30 teams in the ECHL, and, that could be affected a little bit by this. It all depends. This is a very difficult thing. I think it's time to move on. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think we should get to the part that people are probably really excited for.
Oh, yes. All right. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show is my interview with Brant Sherwood. So we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Again, Merry Christmas to everybody. It is Christmas Eve, and I figured why not, while he's in Florida in the sun, probably getting a suntan, probably needs a suntan, spending so much time up here on the northeast part of the United States, is the head coach of the Binghamton Black Bears. He is, of course, the 2-time Commissioner's Cup champion head coach of the Binghamton Black Bears, Brant Sherwood. Brant, how is Florida? Hopefully everything is going very well down there.
Well, I hope I don't fry up down here because I'm a little pasty from being up north. But no, Gemma and I were really enjoying it. And, thanks for having me.
How important is it to have these kind of breaks and you get to go spend time with Gemma and just relax, but also for the players as well? How important is it for them to kind of get away, see their families, loved ones, maybe skate once or twice during the week when you have a break like this? But how important is it for you and your whole team to have breaks like these?
Yeah, it's a huge reset that is much needed for the staff and players. I think Mac Jansen said it after the game. He's like, I've never had 5 days off in my 6-7 year pro career. So he was very excited about it. And I know a lot of the guys are, happy to get away from the game for a little bit. There's some rookies though that we might have to lock the rink and make sure they stay out of there and do some other things, have a snowball fight or make a snowman or something, because
there's no snow up here right now.
There's a couple guys that they live at the rink, and we got to force them to step away sometimes.
Through 23 games, you guys are 21-2. Knowing that the roster really wasn't going to be where you wanted it to be until going into December, are you pleased, surprised, cautious about where this team is at right now? I mean, you can't complain. 21-2 is a great number, but I want to get the feel of you about your team right now and where you guys think you're at.
I'm thoroughly happy with our efforts thus far, and super pleased with our lineup and kind of what we had to go through at the beginning of the year. We had Tyson get injured the first game, and kind of had some things going on in the background to bring some players in, and now that our full squad's here, it's you got to see it firsthand on Saturday night. And I thought it was a tremendous effort, and it kind of just shows you that teams can't last with us for 60 minutes, but we still have those dips in our game that we're trying to get rid of, lulls in the second period or lulls in 10 minutes of the game that we're always striving for a full 60. So if we can continue to do that and get close to that number, we're going to be in pretty good shape when April comes around.
So I'm going to throw myself under the bus a little bit, Brant. You and I had a conversation a few weeks ago before Garrett Sargis came in. I said, Brant, he's older. Are you sure he's going to be able to come in and provide? And you kind of laughed at me a little bit and said, listen, wait until you see this guy. He is built. He's probably in better shape than anybody else on the team. Maybe he's just physically there. And I think it took a game or two, and now we're starting to see what Garrett Sargis can bring to the table, and nobody's going to push him around either. Talk a little bit about bringing in Garrett, and a little bit about your relationship before bringing him in.
Well, bringing in Garrett just raised the internal competition of our team. As soon as he stepped in the locker room and guys look at his resume and Garrett's telling me on the phone that he's out of shape, he's this and that, he might need a little time, and then we throw him in the fire that first week. And however, when he first stepped into the room, you're like, you're out of shape. Come on, Sarge. I'm looking at you from the front, and you can see his lats, poking out on the side. So he definitely takes care of his body well, but I think he's brought in just an overall professional vibe to our locker room where each and every guy is stepping up and kind of seeing what he's doing. Not that guys that have been here in the past haven't been doing, but he's definitely a pro, and it shows each and every day. So we're so pleased to have him and his physical presence on the ice. And I know he was a little frustrated. He wasn't capitalizing on some goals, but he contributed a ton to his line mates by just, driving guys to the net and creating some space for them. It's been quite the playmaker this year. I like seeing that from him, but overall his puck protection ability and how to fend guys off. And, he got the hit of the game the other night by shoving a guy with one arm. So, we're very lucky to have him, and don't get that guy grumpy, because he's a pretty scary person on the ice when he gets going. And
we haven't seen the total amount of what he can be physically on the ice as well, correct?
No, we haven't. I think Saturday was his first whoa, he is when the puck's on his stick, he's dominating the game. So it was awesome to kind of see his coming out party per se, but he can be quite physical, and he can lay the body and, fend guys off with someone on his back. So he's truly not a fighter. He has such a big heart, and he's such a nice guy. But when push comes to shove, if he drops his gloves, I'm really scared for the other guy.
Absolutely. One of the guys that you brought in this season that I've been just absolutely fascinated with, and I think you knew I was going to be this way, is with Ivan Bondarenko. First of all, I don't know if he smiles more on the ice or if Kyle Steffen is smiling more on the ice. I'm not really sure, but Ivan has been just such a treat to watch. Watching him pass the puck and dump things off for other players to score goals has just been amazing to watch. Did you know how good he was going to be as a playmaker versus even scoring goals before he came in here?
I knew it, but when you see it, live every single day, you're heavily reminded that he's a fantastic player and, a guy that also we're lucky to have. But I saw that in his game when I was coaching him in Columbus, and I always pushed for him, tried to get him in the lineup. And, once we got him on a line with CJ Stubbs and Connor Fries, who's in Huntsville, they never looked back, and they had a great run that year. However, this year, I'm just so impressed with his maturity, how he handles himself. He never misses an optional practice. He's one of those guys that's going to be probably on the ice tomorrow when it's not mandatory or required, and just kind of loves being at the rink. So his presence, his vibes that he brings to the rink are second to none, and we're just so happy to have him. His skating ability is probably the best in the league, along with Gavin Yates, and the way he can carve it up and gain zones and do pull-ups and make his line mates better around him and constantly set him up. I think that's a part of Stubbsy's success this year as well, is just kind of having that chemistry. I know Stubbsy was a little frustrated on Saturday night. He could have buried a couple boards that Bondo set him up on, but he's been amazing for us, and what a pleasure it is to have him in the locker room.
I said just recently, going into obviously this Christmas break, that I felt that CJ Stubbs had been your MVP of the first half of the season. Of course, things could have been differently if Tyson was in here, but for the whole first start of the season. But I really do believe that going into this Christmas break, your MVP of this team is probably CJ Stubbs, and it's kind of funny because you've said to me multiple times, we're just lucky to have CJ here. It's just been a pleasure to watch him this season.
CJ Stubbs is the MVP thus far, and I think he's picked it up a notch from what I've seen in the past. I think that has a lot to do with John Quinville as well. Like he really pushes him, and I always laid off Stubbsy. Like I honestly didn't know how to coach him. Sometimes when a player was better than you were, it's tough to give advice and kind of point them in the right direction, where maybe I tiptoe around our top tier players a little bit and kind of give them a little bit more freedom, where John doesn't have a problem like, hey, do this here, do that there. And I think he's been striving off it. I also think it's a combination of his line mates, but he's had a next level gear this year that we're so pleased with. And he easily could have went up to the East Coast Hockey League, and he just wants to stay here. I think he's just happy and comfortable, but comfortable in the right way, where it's confident, and he just wants to perform each and every night and be the guy that we can rely on.
Yeah, you mentioned Yates already, and I wanted to talk about him as well. I wasn't sure if Yatesy was even going to come back this year. You may have known differently than I have, but 7 power play goals. He's been really great. And honestly, on the sentimental side, I was just so happy to see him go up and play his first couple games in the ECHL, Brant. I mean, I know we're not supposed to be sentimental. We're supposed to be, dissecting games and talking about players and, gameplay. I was just really happy for him to go up there and play those couple games with Adirondack.
He was just able to prove himself and show that he could have done this his whole career. And that's what we were, so happy for him with is just going up there and proving to himself that, maybe he was selling himself short by, playing the Federal Hockey League and kind of accepting where he's at and just lighting it up down here. But we wanted to give him that opportunity, and we're so happy to do so. And he ran with it. And I got a call from that around the coach that he said, if they need a left winger in the upcoming weeks, Gavin Yates is going to get the call back. So super pleased to give him that chance and watch him run with it. He did very well.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of gave us some video material, though, that he's not going to be able to get away with in our league. Of he was stopping and starting in the house when he was coming back into the D zone. He wasn't jumping the play and thinking offense. So we got some good clips for him to hold him accountable down here, so he doesn't get all freelancy sometimes.
You've mentioned, and I've actually also mentioned this in some of the writings that I've done, and just even here on the Power Play Post Show, 3 first lines. Can you explain that to the fans, what that truly means to you, Brant Sherwood, 3 first lines?
Well, I'll just name our third line right now, and it's Kyle Steffen, Division I player who's awesome down the middle, forechecks well, very, very difficult to play against, but also has an amazing shot that can bury. And on his wings are Austin Thompson and Gavin Yates. Yeah. So that's a first line, and any league in single A, so SPHL included, they would be a first line up there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at our second line, it's got Zach Sirota, who's kind of having a come out year, and he's got Jansen and Sargis on his wings. So it's kind of crazy to see how much depth we have, and it really showcased itself on Saturday. We had goals from every single line, and it's fun to watch everyone contribute.
Then you have like Nick Swain and Emerson Emery. They both play the game a little bit differently from each other. But when Nick Swain decides to break out, he breaks out 4 goals on Teddy Bear toss night, which is kind of like almost like one-upping, what Cameron Clark did last year, which when he scored the Teddy Bear toss, he got a hat trick as well in that game. But Nick decides to go and score 4 goals, and then has probably an ESPN-worthy goal this past Saturday, which just, I think when I envision it in my head still today, I'm like going, I cannot believe he made that run and that deke and then another deke just to score another goal. Talk a little bit about Nick Swain and just what you've seen from him these last few games.
The last few games have been amazing. If he's skating well, then he's going to contribute. Whether it's defensively or offensively. Obviously, we've seen a bunch of highlight reels the past few games, but he brings a lot to the table. What stands out to me with Nick Swain is he's very sticky with the puck. He doesn't lose many puck battles. He's got a heavy bottom hand, and even when you think he loses the puck, he somehow gets it back. A lot like Kirks does too. Yeah. Like. It's just tough to get the puck away from him because he's skilled and smart and knows how to use his body and position it the right way, but also has some craftiness with his stick to kind of do those little lifts or bat the stick away and create space for the puck where he just is always getting first touch on it. So super happy with how Nick's kind of came into his own. We saw a bunch of glimpses of it last year, but I think he just had a slow start and he kind of made a late decision to come in and wasn't quite ready for training camp. And then once his feet got underneath him, he's been running with it. So very pleased with his efforts. And he was a guy that, was start on our board to maybe not be around when guys started coming in, and he just lived to fight another day and just kept battling and kept his head down and kept working, and he's balancing a full-time job with it. So we're super proud of what it's become. And he makes the most of his minutes. I think he played like 9 minutes on Saturday night and had a highlight reel goal, had an assist as well. And I think a couple games before that, he was getting like 4 or 5 minutes. And I remember I went up to him on the teddy bear toss night and I go, "Hey, you're going tonight. Like, run with it. Like, I'm going to give you some minutes." And I said, "You're playing with the 8C," and his eyes lit up. And
oh boy,
he had quite the night, and let it be known that, hey, if there's ever any situations where we can slide him in to a regular shift, he's going to have some fun with it.
Yeah, and I think we saw that last year. Even when he came in, he played on a couple different lines, and you could see that his game could change a little bit based on the line mates that he was on. And obviously, what you're looking for is basically what you're looking for from all guys, which is consistency, the same effort, the same playmaking ability every single game. And it'll be interesting to see how Nick does the rest of the season, because it's just what he's done is he's amazed a lot of the fans over the last few games, which is pretty cool. All right. The next guy I want you to talk about is, like, I still don't know how you got this guy here, and that's Austin D'Orazio. I mean, the skill that we've seen from him and what he has done this year, 11 goals, 8 of them are on the power play. When you made that change to go from the 5 forward power play to bringing in a couple defensemen on that power play, it just exploded for Austin D'Orazio. What a great find. D3 Utica College, which is a great program up there. Talk a little bit about D-Raz.
First of all, I have to get kudos to Zach Sirota. They're buddies growing up together, and they're working out over the summer, and Zach just never let it go. He's like, "Hey, come on, you got to play." Like, I know Austin was done with college, and he's kind of had some up and downs with his hockey career. And I think he's finally found a home here, and coaches that believe in him. Like, I remember Q and I, once he first got in, the first practice, we were like, all right, we got ourselves a player. And we kind of watched it develop over the weeks, and we kept saying, like, hey, maybe in 3-4 weeks, he might be our QB1 on the power play. And once we gave him that opportunity, it's kind of been the D-Raz show on the back end. I know you said Stubbs has been MVP for the team, but on the back end, I think D-Raz has kind of been that backbone for us. And, I think he's close to double digits in goals, and it's not even the new year yet. So what contributes to his success is he's obsessed with the game. He's another guy that is Rod Brindamore style, where you might have to lock him out of the rink because he's the first there, last one to leave. He uses all the amenities, and he's always trying to get better, almost in like an annoying way, like, hey, what can I do here? And I'm like, you just had 4 points last night. Like, what do you mean what you could do? But he's always constantly trying to learn and, soak in any type of hockey IQ from his veterans, from the coaching staff as well. So he's been a true pleasure. But Zach Sirota was a big part of that recruiting process, and we almost lost him to Blue Ridge, believe it or not. But we were happy to persuade him to come to Bingo, and he's actually gotten some calls from the SPHL, and he's decided to stay with us and develop a little bit more. And we're hoping to send him to the East Coast here soon, and
that'd be great.
Watch him thrive and pursue his dream.
Brant, before we talk about a couple more players and then we'll get into a couple little fun things for the fans. how important has it been that this year the FPHL has seen a lot more increase of these ECHL call-ups? The Black Bears have had 2. I know teams like Monroe and Athens have had a couple players go up also to the ECHL. How important is that for this league to start getting that recognition from really ECHL? And I know a lot of it comes down to networking. It comes down to you and an ECHL head coach actually having a conversation and networking a little bit. But how important has it been for the league to have some of these ECHL call-ups?
Well, it just shows we're relevant now. And I think that has a lot to do with the Binghamton Black Bears and what we've done, and kind of how we're putting the league on notice. And it's been awesome to see, even from other teams, to get those call-ups. I see Carter McPhail, the goalie in Athens. He's up in Greenville, and he
signed a standard players contract, which is really almost unheard of for an FBHL player to go up there and sign an SPC.
Yeah, and deservingly so. He's not on a PTO, but that kid's a phenomenal goaltender, and that's what we have in our league. We have amazing players where I'm not going to say our entire league is on the same level as the SPHL, but our top 6, top 7, swap them in and out. We're no longer really. I don't want to say we're not allowing it to happen, but we don't encourage guys to go to the SP anymore because we feel like we can do the same thing.
Yeah,
and I feel like I have the connections with East Coast coaches and also the best interests of our players, where in the SP, there's some coaches that might bury you. They might not let you know that you got a call from AA. So we try to be fully transparent and, hey, you can go to the SP and you might have a little bit better competition, but is it going to be the same development? Are you going to get the same minutes you would in Binghamton? Are you going to have the same coaches? We have an awesome operation going on downstairs in our locker room, and Gavin Yates said it to me. He said, "Hey, I think we have better practices than Adirondack," and it shows that what we're doing is truly professional, and I'm just finally happy we're getting recognized, and I think the league's super happy about that as well, where we're truly not sending too many guys to the SP and kind of leapfrogging over them.
Which is great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the return of Tyson Kirkby. Of course, it's important to get your captain back on the ice, the heart and soul of the team, so to speak. You had him on the bench for a number of games. What did you see out of Tyson as an assistant coach there, helping you with the forwards? Before we talk about him being on the ice again.
Well, I would just say, overall, having support staff has been a huge difference this year. And you can only catch so many things when it's just one guy behind the bench. So having that extra set of eyes with Tyson was huge. It was the first time ever where I was truly just a head coach, not coaching the D, not coaching the forwards, but kind of observing everything and trying to deliver a message the team needs at the media timeouts or in intermission, and taking advice from Tyson and Q from both sides. So it was awesome to see Tyson in that role, and how he talked to players. He was very, I would say, respectful, and said the right things with the right tone as far as delivering a message. So he was great at that. And then he picks up on different things that I might not pick up on. Maybe it's at the center dot with face-offs. Maybe it's a little bit of net front presence and knowing how to roll off a guy or bait a guy into a penalty, or planting your feet and staying at the top of the crease and actively looking for the goalie and kind of covering his view. So, he was awesome to have on the bench, and he was a big part of our success from the other side at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and obviously since his return, 4 goals and an assist, which is obviously very important. This team is stacked. He's going to be your first line center almost anytime you put him out there, just because of the heart and soul and the amount of minutes you're going to give him is obviously going to be far and above pretty much anybody else. Can you talk a little bit about, how important it was to get him back out on the ice?
It was huge, and I think the game that truly shows like
Mm-hmm.
we got Tyson back, and you know what, he's not going to allow us to lose, was that away game up in Danbury.
Yes.
It's a hard game to get up for, and there's always stuff going on in the away locker room, and we didn't have our outlets working, we didn't have hot showers. You could see your breath before the game, and I truly believe Tyson was not going to allow us to lose that game. And I think Razar was standing on his head quite a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
he basically willed that game himself and got us the W. I know Stubbs ended up getting the game winner in the shootout, but without Tyson in the lineup, I don't know how that would have went. And we needed a gritty, greasy goal, and he got 2 of them for us. And he took a pounding, but that's what Tyson does. When push comes to shove,
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna put the team on his back and make it happen.
You have 3 goaltenders that I think that at any time you can put in there, and you don't have to worry about them. You have all the confidence in the world. Connor and Dominic have just been so good this year, and Dominic has been such a nice find for you guys. Talk a little bit about your goaltending this year, because again, I hate to say this, I don't want to upset anyone. I think this is the best tandem we've seen from the Black Bears.
Of course, and that's not
Right.
not saying anything about our past, but
Yeah.
Dom has really come in, and I think it's the first time ever we've had a 1A 1B situation,
A competition.
where
Yeah.
I could flip a coin and like who's starting tonight, where we're gonna have an opportunity to win with those 2 guys in net. So yeah, I think it's just helped elevate C-Mac's game. And I think C-Mac in the past has been maybe a little bored of the regular season, I guess, where now he has to compete and practice a little bit more each and every day with Dom here, because Dom is he's a phenomenal goaltender who's athletic, always competing for pucks, and always putting in the extra work. He's much like Durazio as far as, first at the rank, last one to leave, constantly working on his craft. So very, very happy with our goalie tandem. We got depth in all areas.
You certainly do. Okay, so let's talk a little bit of the fun things. Obviously, leading up to Christmas, this is obviously Christmas Eve for the fans who are listening to this, maybe Christmas Day. You guys had a Booster Club holiday party. You guys also had the holiday party for the team and the fans also out at Tioga Downs. But for you, what's Christmas mean to Brant Sherwood and your family, and how you guys have always celebrated in the past?
I think it's just a great time to take a break from hockey and kind of recapture the year, like kind of look back and be appreciative for your family and friends, and make sure that you enjoy the small things in life, and get away from the game. So it's a good point for us to kind of sit back and relax and appreciate everything that we have as far as the Black Bears and your support away from the rink. But yeah, it's also a good time to, I guess my favorite thing about Christmas, and I guess just say the same thing with Thanksgiving, is eating food. So I get to let loose a little bit. And I had breakfast this morning, which I really haven't done since the season started. So bacon, French toast, and kind of loading up on the carbs. I'm sure my trainer, Coach Q, wouldn't approve of a lot of the things I ate this morning, but that's kind of what I enjoy, is like letting loose and, not taking life too serious and just kind of enjoying the moments and kicking back, watching some movies, and hanging with family and friends.
So you have to go to Florida to get away from Coach Q to be able to have a meal that you can enjoy, right?
Yeah, I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast, because I'm in serious shit when I come back.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. If you could give a Christmas gift, anything that you wanted to any one of your players, anything at all, who would it be and what would you give them?
This is too easy.
Oh, really?
I'd give Chichu a goal. I know, yes. He hit the crossbar pretty hard in November, where it bounced all the way back into our own D zone. So yeah, I'd like to give Chichu a goal, and that would be the best gift.
You know what's great about this is I was not going to bring up Chichu. Was the only guy on the team without a goal, unless you count the goaltenders, because they don't have one either. Although I'm sure Connor would try to find a way, or Dominic at this point would try to find a way at some point during the season. But it's pretty impressive that every guy on this team is a plus minus in the plus range, and that every guy except for Chichu so far, we're not rubbing in Chichu, I promise you we're not. Literally everybody has a goal, because again, when this team has been successful the past 2 seasons, pretty much everybody has contributed in the goal column, at least somewhere.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we harp on at the beginning of the year, is we need depth scoring, and it means so many different things. You need goal scoring, obviously, from your top 6, but from your third line, your 10th forward like Nick Swain or Emerson Emery, and then obviously you need to sift some in from the blue line. But it also comes with like being adaptable down the stretch, because there's some teams that will shut down certain areas of your game in playoffs. And if you're just relying on scoring off the rush or scoring on 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s, then if a team figures that out and they have, good tracking or very tight gaps, and there's not a whole lot of room to work with, you better find another way to score goals. And that's through special teams, through your ozone rotations, maybe through a little net front battle, and other ways. So we always try to work on that and give guys some different circumstances on the ice to work on those areas of the game where we're constantly contributing on the scoreboard in all different situations.
Okay, so I know you listen to the show from time to time whenever you can. I have to ask you for a pep talk. How do I get through the next 5 games of us covering you guys against the Watertown Wolves? We just went through 4 games against the Danbury Hat-Tricks. I harp on the schedule all the time. I hate it. Give me a pep talk. How do I get through these next 5 games?
Day by day. It's funny because I just focus on the next practice. Like, how are we going to get better at this practice? I'm not really necessarily looking at the schedule. We had a couple dates circled at the beginning of the year. It was Athens. Port Huron and Athens. Yep. And now that we've gotten over that, how can we get better each and every day? No matter who we're playing, what time of day we're playing, whatever it might be. So I would just say stay present, stay in the moment, and just focus on one game at a time. And I'm sure you're going to bang your head against the wall by talking about Watertown, 5 games in a row. But at the same time, I think our team creates, different games each and every night. We'll win in all sorts of ways. So hopefully, you can get the creative juices flowing and pull some stuff out of your hat.
I certainly hope so, because I was dreading these 9 games. I really was. Seeing 2 opponents for 9 straight games, I was dreading it. I know it worked out into your favor because it was going to be potentially a different couple games here right around Christmas time, or these next 2 against Watertown were going to be a different opponent, and it worked out to you guys' benefit, which is great. But yeah, these 9 games, whew, I've said to Taylor multiple times, like, how am I going to write about these games? I don't know. It's like I'm talking about the same people, but each one of those games against the hat tricks were definitely different. Brant, thank you so very much for coming on the show, talking to us. Merry Christmas to you and Gemma and Tucker, to your parents who are huge supporters of what we do with the Power Play Post Show, which is so amazing. Your dad and your mom always have really nice things to say, and I really, really do appreciate it. Your whole family is just absolutely. I haven't met Gemma yet. You've kept her away from me, which is fine. I understand. Totally get that. But I hope you guys have a great Christmas, and thank you so much for everything you guys do for Binghamton and for obviously the Power Play Post Show.
Hey, thank you so much for that. And, I think Gemma's at the point where she's so sick of hockey being in it with me for the past 6-7 years. So we'll get you guys linked up, but happy holidays to you as well. And we appreciate your coverage of the team, and it's been a blessing having you and kind of just being with us on this journey for the past 3 years. It's been awesome, and we got another fun ride going, and can't wait to see where it takes us.
Absolutely. He is Brant Sherwood, the head coach of the Binghamton Black Bears, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Brant Sherwood. And, honestly, Taylor only has one thing to say.
About the guy who's keeping us all in the salary cap.
Yeah. And
keeping us fat and happy.
Yeah, I think it's nice that they're very fat and happy over there.
Oh my God, that was the worst transition we ever did from an interview back into the show. But yes, we are back. That was Brant Sherwood. He has kept us all fat and happy, and he's really kept everybody in that salary cap, which you will probably see at some point, the banner at some point at the arena. Is that correct, Taylor? Is that still happening?
It's definitely happening. I don't remember the exact date that Port Huron's coming back to town, but I'm getting 2 made. I'm going to get a picture size made for you. And I'm going to get, I'm going to find Paulin and get him to sign it some way, another. And that it's going to you, so you can hang it on your wall. So you have some fan art of your own pictures on your wall.
That's awesome.
And then I'm going to have a poster sized one made. That's just going to go right against the glass.
That's great. And hopefully he's got a good sense of humor about it. At least I hope he does. All right, Taylor, what's happening this weekend? Hopefully.
Well, hopefully we're going to be on the road both Friday and Saturday against the Watertown Wolves. The Black Bears and the Wolves play the next 5 games against each other over the next 2 weeks. Twice this weekend in Watertown, then next Wednesday in Binghamton on New Year's Eve, and then the following weekend back up in Watertown again for both games.
Sorry.
At least it's not Danbury again. I mean,
yay.
We'll be saying that at the end of this next 5 games and be like, oh man, we missed Danbury. The Black Bears have won all 5 meetings so far this season against the Wolves, winning 2 games in Binghamton and 3 so far up in Watertown. The last time the 2 teams met was on November 28th in Watertown, a 4-1 win for the Black Bears, which saw Austin Thompson, Zach Sirota, CJ Stubbs, and Nick Swain score goals. The Black Bears are on a 12-game winning streak after defeating the Danbury Hat Tricks last weekend, 4-2 on Friday and 11-3 on Saturday. Last weekend, the Wolves split 2 games with the Indiana Sentinels, winning 6-4 on December 19th and then dropping a game 6-4 to the Sentinels as well on Saturday night. The Wolves are 9-11-2 with 27 points, are 5th in the Empire Division. The Black Bears are 21-2-0, 61 points, and 1st in the Empire Division as well.
I triple checked that stat at the end there. Just because I screwed it up like 5 times this past weekend. But to go back to what you were saying, yes, probably at the end of the Watertown, the next 5 games, I'll be excited to see Twin City, because that's who we play after Watertown. We play them against them twice, and then I think we either play Indiana again or PD. I think it might be Indiana or PD that is after Twin City. So it'll be nice to kind of give a break away from these teams. But once we're done with Watertown, the 5 games against them, that's 10 games. We only have 7 games left against them after that. So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Only 7?
Yeah, I know.
Only?
I know. Well, as it is, we've played Danbury 11 times now? No. 9 times? 10 times? And we still got 6 against them. Oh, vey. All right. The Wolves are led by Stephen Klink, 20 games played, 15 goals. I think 5 of them are against the Black Bears this year. 14 assists and 29 points, 3 power play goals and 2 game-winning goals. Yefim Mishkin, 21 games played. He's got 11 goals, 9 assists, 20 points, 1 power play goal and 3 game-winning goals. And a familiar name is in the top 3 of scoring for the Watertown Wolves. He is Darian Benchik. 21 games played, 6 goals, 13 assists for 19 points. He's got 1 game-winning goal. And even though they do have 2 goaltenders that could show up and play, I did pick Matt Lenz as our spotlight goaltender for them. He's 5-3 with a 4.33 goals against average and an .897 save percentage. And of course, Brandon Colgan is the other goaltender for them. I'll be interested to see who we get, whether it be Matt Lenz or Brandon Colgan. I have a feeling we're going to see both goaltenders.
It wouldn't surprise me. It seems to be kind of the theme with facing other teams. I'm still stuck on the whole Kyle Penton not playing at all on Saturday. Still blows my mind. But I'm looking at these numbers and, looking at their top guys and their points compared to our top guys and points.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy, the difference.
Yeah. Stephen Klink's the only one that can kind of like hang his skates with our guys.
Yeah, and even then, it's just slightly. He's not quite there.
No.
But he is. I think he can hold a flame with the 3 power play goals and 2 game winning goals. He's kind of close in that aspect.
Right.
But not to CJ Stubbs. I don't think anybody can catch up to him.
Well, I think, like Danbury, Watertown, they both have like one guy, right? That one guy who is, leading the team, where the Black Bears have like 4 or 5 guys that could easily go to any other team and improve their scoring by 20%, 25%. That's how crazy it is. The Black Bears are led by CJ Stubbs, 23 games played, 16 goals, 31 assists, 47 points. Pretty much every goal he scores is either a power play goal, which he has 6, 1 shorthanded goal, or 7 game-winning goals. If you do the math there, it's like out of all those,
so only 2 goals weren't anything special, is what you're saying?
Something like that. Yes, that's how crazy it is. I love CJ. Can't wait to have him back on the show here in the new year and talk to him about this. He is paying attention to what we say and what we do, and he's kind of like, I think he has got a pretty big smile on his face about it. Ivan Bondarenko, 23 games played, 7 goals, 33 assists for 40 points, 1 power play goal. Gavin Eats, 20 games played, 14 goals, 19 assists for 33 points, 7 power play goals, and 1 game-winning goal. Connor McAnanima is 11-1-0 with a 2.48 goals against average and a .903 save percentage. And Dominic Tomei is 8-1-0, and he's got a 201 goals against average and a .930 save percentage. Flip your coin about which goaltender is going to start for the Binghamton Black Bears, and it's still going to be a rough time for the other team.
Yeah, CMAC or CMAC 2.0.
Oh, no, come on. We got to give Tomei a different name than CMAC 2.0.
It's stuck in my head ever since. The guys that sit behind me are hysterical. One, they can't say Macananima to save their lives. So that's always a really interesting one. And then even Tomei, they put the J on there, which is also hysterical. So just listening to them in general is pretty funny. But when they said that, it stuck, and I thought it was hysterical. But yeah, I mean, you can even throw Friedlander in there, and honestly, I think any team is going to have a hard time. It's just,
yeah.
I would like to honestly see Friedlander probably up in Watertown. I think it would be interesting, just to kind of see what would happen there,
Okay.
Especially with
all right, play
the guys that the lineups that we've had recently and how everything's been going. Yeah, I would throw Wyatt in there.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna let you play coach for the weekend, and you tell me which game Wyatt plays in and who plays the Saturday game or the second game, whichever game you put Wyatt in. Where are you putting Wyatt in? Which game? And then who plays the other game?
I'd throw Wyatt in on Friday with like Tomei as backup, and then Saturday I'd throw Macananima in. And depending on how good Friday goes, and maybe even have Wyatt back up for Saturday too.
So you're giving Tomei the night off or the weekend off?
Sure, why not?
In a sense. I mean, he has to warm up in one of the games, but gets to rest in the next game.
Yeah, I would.
Right.
I would definitely.
All right,
I think it'd be an interesting thing.
Just to see him get his third game in and see how he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's done well so far, so I mean, why not?
All right. I'm just saying.
Unless if people don't have any faith in him like I do, and you're worried about the winning streak, then okay, you can come at me about that. But I truly think he's got what it takes.
All right.
I mean, we've got 3 good goalies. You could, roll the die and have him pick a number. I don't know.
Oh, that's fair. So, Brant Sherwood, if you're listening, if you've made it this far in the podcast, thank you very much. You're a dedicated listener, and we love you. But there you go. You have your lineup card now for the goaltenders. So you got to play Wyatt Friedlander on Friday night with Dominic Tomei backing him up, and then Connor Macananima starts on Saturday with Wyatt potentially backing him up. So there you go. You like that?
If that actually happens, I'm gonna just die of laughter if that ends up happening. Just be prepared for me to message you about it if anything remotely close happens. Like
I would laugh my ass off if it did happen. All right, on the specialty teams, the Black Bears on the power play are ranked number 1 with 38 power play goals. They're converting on a 27% rate, which is crazy. I want to see them get up to 30. I really do. On the PK, ranked number 1, 10 power play goals against, 91%. Watertown power play ranked 8th, 17 power play goals. They are converting 19% of the time. Going up against that number 1 PK will be kind of tough and stingy for them. And on the PK, they are ranked 12th. They've given up 26 power play goals against, a 77% rate. So I think, again, here's another time where the special teams might play a factor in how good or how well the Black Bears do in the game.
In your opinion, which one do you think is better to have, a stronger team in the PK or the power play?
PK. I'll tell you why. You want your team to be good 5-on-5 all the time, right? If they're not good 5-on-5, and you play against a team on a weekend and they don't give up many power play opportunities for you, then your 5-on-5 has to be great, and they have to be able to score goals. But man, oh man, I've seen so many games change because a team that you're playing against, you give them a power play opportunity, they score a power play goal, or you give them a 5-on-3 and they score 2 power play goals, or you give them a 5-minute major and they score. So I think having a good PK, the number 1 PK, is more important than having the number 1 power play, because you really want your team to be scoring most of your goals anyways. 5-on-5, even strength, 4-on-4, whatever it might be. You really want them to score as many goals as they can on 5-on-5. Power play is nice. It's a great thing to be able to score on, but I think the PK is more important in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I thought it'd be kind of interesting to get your opinion on it. Because for me, if you're relying on the power play, then something isn't right with the rest of the game for you.
Yeah.
As far as the penalty kill, if you're killing the penalties, then that's awesome. Because you're not allowing anything to kind of break through your team.
You'll hear head coaches talk.
I definitely agree.
You'll hear head coaches talk about 5-on-5 play. How good were they? Could they be better on 5-on-5? And it's usually reporters and people going, "Well, what about the power play? You guys were 1 for 5. Yeah, but okay, so they were 1 for 5 on the power play. Think about that for a second. So 5 power play opportunities might be 10 minutes, right? There's 60 minutes in the game, and you really want to be good during that 5-on-5 or that 4-on-4 time, more so than, were you really super, super good? But man, I'll tell you right now, being good on that PK is huge. So that's my answer to that. I just see that you're playing 5-on-5 more often than you are on the power play, but a PK could be a game changer for the other team if your PK is not good.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better than myself.
Awesome. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas to you, Taylor and Jeremy. I hope everybody enjoys this. I hope Friday goes by and it's very easy for the FPHL teams and especially the Binghamton Black Bears. But to all of our fans out there, Merry Christmas. And I hope everybody just has taken the time to spend time with family and, enjoy the holiday season.
Are all your cookies gone?
Not all yet. We're close.
Oh,
very
cutting
close.
It close, man.
Very close. Very close. I hope the fans have a happy and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll be back, obviously, after the weekend wrap-up show. That might be an interesting show just because of everything that's going on in the world of the lower minor leagues, ECHL, FPHL, and SPHL. Hopefully, it's not too crazy that I'm scratching my head when we go to sit down to record that, but we'll find out. All right. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Join the conversation on Facebook, search for Power Play Post Show, and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob Leopoldis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and head coach of the Binghamton Black Bears, Brant Sherwood. Again, folks, Merry Christmas. Thank you very much for listening. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.